Dear students, today we are going to understand part 2 of your class 8th science chapter 7, the cell. In this part, we are going to know about discovery of the cell, organization of cells in organisms. Then thirdly, we are going to understand about cells in an organisms in comparison or versus with bricks in a building. Okay, discovery of the cell. In 1665, Robert Hooke, an Englishman, first discovered the cell. And this is your question number 1 also in answer briefly. Question number 1 is who discovered the cell? So you will write the answer. Answer is Robert Hooke, an Englishman, first discovered the cell in 1665. Okay. Now, he observed slices of cork. Now, cork is the bark which comes from the tree, and under microscope. So you can see the microscope. Nowadays, the microscope which are used in labs, not such kind of lab, but the first microscope which Robert Hooke has made for himself. It is also known as Hooke's microscope. Under this, he observed or he saw the bark of a tree, that is slice of cork, and what he observed that both pictures are there. He observed that honeycomb like structure, and those images he published in a book. Those pictures he published in a book named Micrographia. Micrographia word means small pictures. He observed a number of tiny little boxes or compartments in the slice of cork. So very small rooms or some compartment like thing he observed in the cork. So these tiny boxes appeared like honeycomb. So this structure was like honeycomb. जैसे मधुमक्खी का छत्ता होता है उस तरीके से. For this reason, the structure seen by Hooke was called a honeycomb structure. So that is why this structure was known as honeycomb structure, because it was resembling like a honeycomb. परिया के छत्ते या मधुमक्खी के छत्ते की तरह दिखता था, इसीलिए उसका नाम honeycomb structure रखा. He gave the term cell to each box. और जो वो compartments थे या वो boxes थे, little tiny boxes थे, उनका उसने नाम दिया cell. And जो cell word है, this is a Latin word which means little rooms. What Hooke observed as boxes or cells in the cork were actually dead cells. तो जो उसने उस समय देखा वो क्या था? जो वो स्ट्रक्चर देख रहा था या जो सेल्स देख रहा था, they were the dead cells. Okay. Very little was discovered about the cell for the next 150 years after Hooke's discovery. So when Hooke discovered this thing in 1665, from there till 150 years nothing more was discovered. किसी ने ज़्यादा उसके बारे में खोज खबर नहीं करी. With the development of improved microscopes and more effective staining methods in subsequent years, it became possible to know more about the cell structure and its function. धीरे धीरे 150 साल बाद जब साइंस ने डेवलपमेंट और अच्छे से किया, जो माइक्रोस्कोप थे वो अब इम्प्रूव्ड वर्जन आना शुरू हो गए. सो उस समय सेल्स के बारे में, उनके स्ट्रक्चर्स के बारे में, उनके फंक्शंस के बारे में जानना और आसान हो गया. ओके. नाउ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ सेल्स इन ऑर्गेनिजम्स, दैट हाउ सेल्स आर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड इन अ पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म. Cell usually group together to make tissues, organs, organ systems, and finally organisms. So the basic unit is cell. Then cell, when they are in a group, they make tissues. When tissues in a group, they form organs. When organs are in group, they form organ system. And when there are many organ systems, finally they constitute or they make organism. A tissue is a group of cells of the same size, shape and function. तो टिश्यू क्या होता है? टिश्यू एक सेल का कई ग्रुप्स होते हैं, उसमें कई सेल्स होते हैं. सेल्स जिनका साइज भी सेम है, शेप भी सेम है और उनका फंक्शन भी सेम होता है. So some of examples of tissues are your muscles tissue and nerve tissue. The next is our organ. An organ is a structure that contains more than one type of tissues. अभी tissue में देखा कि there a group of cells was tissue. Organ क्या है? Organ same like tissue. In tissues there were cells. Now in organ there are tissues. An organ is a structure that contains more than one type of tissues. एक organ वो है जिसमें एक से ज्यादा तरह के tissues होते हैं. It is normally big enough to be seen with naked eye. For example, some of organs are like your heart and brain in animals, and then leaves, roots, and stems in plants. तो ये इतने बड़े होते हैं कि we can see them with our naked eyes. Then examples are your heart, brain, which we can see easily in animals, then leaves, roots, and stems in plants. The organ do not work alone. So जो organs हैं ये अकेले से काम नहीं करते हैं. Usually a number of organs work together to carry out a certain function. तो कई organs एक साथ मिल करके एक function को करते हैं. A group of organs working together is called an organ system. तो ये जो सारे organs मिल करके जो एक साथ काम करते हैं इस पूरी चीज को इस सबको इन group of organs को हम बोलते हैं organ system. Like your digestive system is an organ system which you have studied in class 7. The organs taking part in the digestive system are the mouth, the food pipe, the stomach, and the intestine. Each organ has a special function to perform. You have studied, okay? Like your digestive system has mouth, food pipe, stomach, intestine, all those things. And each and every organ, each and every part has its special function. But together they digest food. ये सब जब एक साथ मिलकर के क्या करते हैं आपका खाने को डाइजेस्ट करते हैं. Similarly, there are different organs involved in other organ system. इसी तरीके से दूसरे organs हैं जो दूसरे organ system में होते हैं. So you can see this figure over down here. That cell, the basic unit cell, when many cells they come together of the same size, same shape and same function, they form tissue. And when this tissue they come together, they form organ. And when these organs come together, different organs come together, they form the organ system. And when this whole organ system, they form the organism. Okay, fine. So before we understand cell in an organism versus bricks in a building, we'll just go to question number 2 of your answer briefly. How are cells organized in an organism? So answer is cells usually group together to make tissues, organs, organ system, and finally organisms. Okay, I'll just repeat this answer for you. Cells usually group together to make tissues, organs, organ systems, and finally organisms. Okay, this is your answer briefly question number 2. Then answer in detail question number 5. Differentiate between the following. C part. Differentiate between the following. C part is between tissue and organ. So for tissue you will write a tissue is a group of cells of the same size, shape and function. Examples of some tissues are muscle tissues and nerve tissues. Then for organ you will write an organ is a structure that contains more than one type of tissues. It is normally big enough to be seen with the naked eye. Examples of some organs are heart and brain in animals, and leaves, roots and stems in plants. This is your answer in detail, question number 5, C part. Okay, now we'll come to this topic, cell in an organism versus bricks in a building. So as mentioned earlier, living organisms are made of cells. तो जितने भी living organisms हैं सब cell से बने हैं. A cell is the smallest living unit of an organism. और जो cell है वो सबसे छोटी living unit है किसी भी organism की. So can the cell in an organism be compared to bricks in a building or pages in a book? तो क्या हम organism को या cell को किसी भी organism में compare कर सकते हैं brick से जो किसी बिल्डिंग में लगी हो या किसी किताब के पेजेस से? यस, श्योरली वी कैन. सो as bricks are arranged to make building, similarly a number of pages are assembled and arranged to make a book. जैसे बिल्डिंग बनाने के लिए ईंटों का इस्तेमाल होता है, उसी तरीके से किसी किताब को बनाने के लिए, किताब का फॉर्मेशन करने के लिए, किताब कहने के लिए हमें पेजेस की जरूरत है. उन पेजेस को अरेंज करते हैं, असेंबल करते हैं, लाइन वाइज, सीरियल वाइज लगाया जाता है, तभी वो बुक होगी. अदरवाइज वी कैन नॉट कॉल इट अ बुक. So in the same way, cells are arranged to make an organism. उसी तरीके से cells भी arrange किए जाते हैं किसी एक organism को बनाने के लिए. Can you make a building without bricks or a book without pages? तो क्या कोई बिल्डिंग बिना ब्रिक्स के, बिना ईंटों के बन सकती है या बिना पेजेस से कोई किताब बन सकती है? Clearly our answer will be no. Similarly, an organism cannot be made without cell. तो इसी तरीके से कोई organism बिना सेल के नहीं बन सकता. अगर वो ऑर्गेनिज्म है तो उसमें सेल होना जरूरी है. ब्रिक्स और पेजेस और सेल्स आर द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चरल यूनिट ऑफ अ बिल्डिंग और अ बुक और एन ऑर्गेनिज्म. तो जैसे ब्रिक बिल्डिंग के लिए जरूरी है, पेजेस बुक के लिए जरूरी है, उसी तरीके से सेल्स भी जो है वो किसी ऑर्गेनिज्म के लिए जरूरी है. एंड ऑल दीज थ्री थिंग्स, योर ब्रिक्स, योर पेजेस एंड योर सेल्स, दे आर द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चरल यूनिट. डिस्पाइट दिस सिमिलरिटी, ये समानता होने के बावजूद भी, क्या समानता? दैट बेसिक स्ट्रक्चरल यूनिट, दे डिफर इन वन इंपॉर्टेंट एक्सपेक्ट. लेकिन इन सब में एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट डिफरेंस भी है. क्या डिफरेंस है? वाइल सेल्स आर कॉम्प्लेक्स लिविंग स्ट्रक्चर, सेल्स क्या है आपके? कॉम्प्लेक्स लिविंग थिंग्स, लिविंग स्ट्रक्चर्स. योर ब्रिक्स एंड पेजेस आर नॉन लिविंग. ओके, क्लियर? गुड.